Today is April 8th, 2025, and this is Read Through the Bible.
And this is sort of a special week for us.
It is a very special week.
It's a sad week, but it's a happy week. Mm-hmm. My mother passed away on Sunday, and so as a result, we've had some family gatherings. So we went over to my dad's house on Sunday, four of the five children. My brother was out of town, so he couldn't come. He wasn't there. We had a bunch of grandchildren and great-grandchildren even at the house together. My dad...
We did. It was a very sweet time.
Yeah. So my mother passed away in the morning, and then
In fact, while you were preaching.
While I was preaching, yeah. And then we just wanted as many people as possible to come. So we had a lot of people there. It was a very special... In fact, that's why yesterday we had Sonia on.
Right.
Because we were at our family gathering. We recorded Monday's episode on Sunday, and here it is. It is Monday night, and we've had a full day today.
We have. It's going to be a full week, but almost all of our kids are here. And almost all of our grandkids are here with us in our house.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are coming in Friday. So we are
it's a very happy
loving
week.
having everybody here.
Yeah, and so we have two of our sons-in-laws are able to work remotely.
Right.
So they're here working right out of our house,
Yeah.
and so that's been fun for them. I spent much of my day in DeKalb, went to the funeral home today and kind of got some arrangements for everything. We're going to have a funeral visitation on Friday from 4 to 7 in DeKalb, and we're going to have funeral then Saturday at 10 o'clock. And then we're going to be gathering together, so family, it's going to be a good time. And of the family, my dad has 5 children and has 22 grandchildren.
Right, and 25 great-grandchildren.
And almost all of them are flying in.
Yeah.
We're looking to have a great picture. I think only one of the great-grandchildren is not flying in. She's on a vacation on a sailing boat, grandchild, on a sailing boat way in Europe or something like that. It's hard to get out of. So she's like way over in Europe to have her come. But all the others who are here stateside are going to come. Hopefully we get a nice picture out of this. My dad is doing very well. He has been caring for my mom for a long time, and seems like a relief has been lifted from him. Yeah. So we're going to read today 2 chapters from Leviticus chapter 9 and chapter 10. Yesterday we read about the consecration of the priests, like the establishment of the priesthood. And today we're going to see all of the offerings and sacrifices that happen on the 8th day of this consecration of all the priests.
Right. So if you look at chapter 8, verse 33, it talks about how this process of the ordination took 7 days. And then in chapter 9, verse 1, it says on the 8th day, all these things happened. More sacrifices. Okay, so chapter 9, verse 1. On the 8th day, Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said to Aaron, "Take for yourself a bull calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, both without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. And say to the people of Israel, take a male goat for a sin offering and a calf and a lamb, both a year old without blemish for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for peace offerings, to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you."
It seems like you're doing every sort of offering, right?
Yeah.
There's the sin offering and a burnt offering and a peace and a grain offering. The only thing that's missing is the meal offering, a grain offering from Leviticus chapter 2. Other than that, like all the commands of Leviticus 1 through 5, all the different sacrifices are being offered here.
Yep. Okay, verse 5. And they brought what Moses commanded in front of the tent of meeting, and all the congregation drew near. That's a lot of people.
It is.
All the congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. And Moses said, "This is the thing that the Lord commanded you to do, that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Draw near to the altar and offer your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and bring the offerings of the people and make atonement for them, as the Lord has commanded."
I think this is significant here in verse 7, when the priest is going to make atonement first for himself, and then he's going to make atonement for the people. This is exactly like what happened on the Day of Atonement, Leviticus 16, which is the culmination, the peak of Leviticus. I've called this the first Day of Atonement in some regards, because this is he's offering sacrifice for himself first to cleanse himself, and then as a pure priest, he's able to make atonement for the rest of the people. So, here it is. Aaron drew near to the altar and killed the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself.
Right, so first for himself.
Yep. And the sons of Aaron presented the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood and put it on the horns of the altar and poured out the blood at the base of the altar. But the fat and the kidneys and the long lobe of the liver from the sin offering he burned on the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. The flesh and the skin he burned up with fire outside the camp.
Okay, verse 12. Then he killed the burnt offering, and Aaron's sons handed him the blood, and he threw it against the sides of the altar. And they handed the burnt offering to him, piece by piece, and the head, and he burned them on the altar. And he washed the entrails and the legs, and burned them with the burnt offering on the altar.
So this is like a sacrifice for himself. And then, verse 15, then he presented the people's offering, and took the goat of the sin offering that was for the people, and killed it, and offered it as a sin offering like the first one. And he presented the burnt offering, and offered it according to the rule. And he presented the grain offering, took a handful of it, and burned it on the altar beside the burnt offering of the morning.
Then he killed the ox and the ram, the sacrifice of peace offerings for the people, and Aaron's sons handed him the blood, and he threw it against the sides of the altar. But the fat pieces of the ox and of the ram, the fat tail and that which covers the entrails, and the kidneys and the long lobe of the liver, they put the fat pieces on the breasts, and he burned the fat pieces on the altar. But the breasts and the right thigh Aaron waved for a wave offering before the Lord, as Moses commanded.
So here, he's sacrificing for the people now. And so this is like the culmination. Once they've been sanctified, set apart as priests, this 8th day he sacrificed for himself and sacrificed for the people. Then Aaron lifted up his hands toward the people and blessed them. And he came down from offering the sin offerings and the burnt offering and the peace offerings. And Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting. And when they came out, they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people, and fire came out. Catch that, remember that. Fire came out from before the Lord, and it consumed the burnt offering and the pieces of fat on the altar. And when all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. So this was a time in which kind of like God approved of their sacrifices in which they had done.
Right, and remember, verse 5 said that all the congregation was there watching this, and they saw the fire come out from before the Lord and consume the burnt offering. And it obviously impacted them, because it says they shouted and fell on their faces.
Yeah, maybe gasped.
Yeah. I think with fear and awe, probably.
Yeah, and so this fire probably came out from maybe the Holy of Holies, maybe from the tent of meeting. And if you remember the offering, the altar was outside.
Right.
It wasn't near. It was, I don't know, I can't remember, 20 feet away, 50 feet away. I mean, something like that. And this fire came out and arced and consumed everything. It would have been quite frightening. So in terms of a summary, these are the sacrifices of the 8th day.
Right, for the priests and then for the people.
Yep, a little bit like the first Day of Atonement, which we'll get to in chapter 16. Okay, chapter 10. This is a very sobering story. If you haven't heard it before, you will be surprised and really see and understand the holiness of God.
Mm-hmm. So it picks up where we left off.
Yep.
Okay, so now Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, and that's who's being consecrated, is Aaron and his sons. Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it and laid incense on it and offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. So far they've been doing everything that the Lord commanded.
Yeah.
It keeps saying that over and over. And here they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them.
And this stands in stark contrast to all the different times where it says they did what the Lord commanded, all that the Lord commanded, all the Lord commanded. I mean, I underlined that.
Yeah. I highlighted mine in green.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got about 10 times.
Yeah.
As the Lord commanded Moses. As the Lord
At
commanded.
least.
As the Lord commanded. And now, for the first time, this unauthorized fire that God had not commanded them.
Yep. Okay, so here's what happened. Verse 2. And fire came out from before the Lord.
Just like before.
Okay.
But didn't consume the altar.
And consumed them.
Nadab and Abihu.
And they died before the Lord. And then Moses said to Aaron, this is what the Lord has said. Among those who are near me, I will be sanctified, and before all the people, I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace.
Just sent a large message. When you worship God, you need to worship God His way, not in a way that He did not command. And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them, come near, carry your brothers away from the front of the sanctuary and out of the camp. So they came near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moses had said. And Moses said to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar his sons, do not let the hair of your heads hang loose, and do not tear your clothes, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the congregation. But let your brothers, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning that the Lord has kindled. And do not go outside the entrance of the tent of meeting, lest you die. For the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you. And they did, according to the word of Moses. After seeing that example, of course,
absolutely,
they're going to. Yeah, but it's Eleazar and Ithamar. So Nadab and Abihu were the sons. They got killed by the fire. And now Eleazar and Ithamar, next man standing, they're going to take their place.
Okay, verse 8. And the Lord spoke to Aaron, saying, drink no wine or strong drink, you or your sons with you, when you go into the tent of meeting, lest you die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. Maybe giving some indication of what was wrong with Nadab and Abihu?
Yeah. And
with their offering?
Some have surmised that they were drunk, perhaps, when they offered up their incense. Because these are told not to drink, otherwise they might die.
Yeah. Okay, verse 10. You are to distinguish between the holy and the common, and between the unclean and the clean. And you are to teach the people of Israel all the statutes that the Lord has spoken to them by Moses.
Moses spoke to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar, his surviving sons. Take the grain offering that is left of the Lord's food offerings, and eat it unleavened beside the altar, for it is most holy. You shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your due and your son's due from the Lord's food offerings, for so I commanded. But the breast that is waved and the thigh that is contributed you shall eat in a clean place, you and your sons and your daughters with you, for they are given as a due, and your sons' due from the sacrifices of the peace offerings of the people of Israel. The thigh that is contributed and the breast that is waved they shall bring with the food offering of the fat pieces to wave for a wave offering before the Lord. And it shall be yours and your sons with you as a due forever, as the Lord had commanded.
Now Moses diligently inquired about the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burned up.
That means that they messed up as well.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to all be burned up.
No, the priest was supposed to eat. I mean, this is part of the whole explanation of the burnt offering, the sin offering. The burnt offering is supposed to be burned up.
Right.
The sin offering,
but none of the others get fully burned up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the key thing is Nadab and Abihu messed up. They got killed. Eleazar and Ithamar messed up.
And so, middle of verse 16, and he, Moses, was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the surviving sons of Aaron, saying, why have you not eaten the sin offering in the place of the sanctuary, since it is a thing most holy, and has been given to you, that you may bear the iniquity of the congregation to make atonement for them before the Lord? Behold, its blood was not brought into the inner part of the sanctuary. You certainly ought to have eaten it in the sanctuary, as I commanded. And Aaron said to Moses, behold, today they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and yet such things as these have happened to me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would the Lord have approved? And when Moses heard that, he approved.
I mean, I think all the different ways they need to keep all their sacrifices, it's no wonder that they didn't do it just quite right.
Right. And they had no previous example.
Yep.
This was the first time.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. All right. So we see the priesthood beginning. Death of Nadab and Abihu, and Eleazar and Ithamar also mess up. They burn the whole sacrifice. So, great lesson about the holiness of God, how we need to worship God according to his ways. Great. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.